often, so you're kind of hooked.
Yeah, one time I checked somebody's, I went through someone's YouTube history because I realized I was on their account and I thought it'd be goofy, and it was just Katy Perry firework over and over again because it glitched.
It has been said that Utah,
Katy
particularly
Perry
northern
firework
Utah
for like
and the Uinta
5 days
Basin,
straight.
is one of the most active paranormal and supernatural hotspots on the planet.
Utah,
what do you mean? Where the fuck is Utah?
Is Utah like middle America or is it like up north, down south?
I think it's like middle America.
Why else would I ask where Utah is? It's because I don't know where it is.
I'm pretty sure it's in the middle.
Utah is southwest.
Okay,
north.
It's
oh,
like,
so
it's
like middle
close to
America. Okay.
It's middle-ish, but not really. It's kind of south.
West Coast?
Identified lights in the sky to weird humanoid figures and even Bigfoot have
Who
been
the fuck will go to
spotted.
Utah?
It has a long history of strangeness. Accounts which date back to the earliest settlements.
Barefoot?
3 out of every 4 people in this part of the state
and the whole
have
time it was
experienced
actually
something
barefoot.
out of the ordinary, and for many others just
Mormons
passing
are in
through,
Utah? Who the fuck cares about
there is
Mormons,
a palpable
bro?
feeling that those dusty
Mormons
roads
are
and bleak
Literally.
landscapes hide something of a dark
Literally.
secret. Much of the strange activity is concentrated in and around the basin, but some believe that within that radius there is an epicenter, from which all these bizarre phenomena seem to manifest. A beautiful 480-acre ranch situated about 100 miles due east of Salt Lake City.
I have heard of Salt Lake City.
As with any other
acreage,
acreage, it traditionally adopts the name of the current owner, but over time, it has come to be known by another.
But like real shit, if it's
the
known
Utes
to be a
believe this ranch
Skinwalker
to be the focal point of a curse placed on them by the Navajo.
Burn all
Tribe members
480
were,
acres.
and still are,
Thank you.
forbidden from setting foot on this land, as they believe it to be in the path of the Skinwalker. For this reason, it became known to the locals as Skinwalker Ranch.
I'm just saying, bro, if I light up a fucking
Throughout
wolf
the latter
for like
half of the
13
20th
rounds
century,
and he's just sitting there just alive.
Yeah. Oh hell no, bro! He can have the whole ranch.
Oh god, he can have all of it. I'm packing my bags and I'm leaving. Like, bro, what?
Skinwalker Ranch was owned by a family, which has long remained anonymous in this mysterious saga. For reasons unknown, they suddenly and inexplicably vacated the property in 1987, leaving it empty.
They did what we was finna do. They
like that's common sense.
They said, "Nah, bitch, I'm out."
Unattended for more than 7 years. That was until 1994, when it was purchased by Terry and Gwen Sherman. Along with their 2 children, the couple believed that they had found their dream home.
Dream home, yeah. Okay.
The remote property was bordered to the north by a high ridge.
You know, this actually scares me because I have a family member trying to buy a ranch right now, and the landscape looks just like this.
You better go to Skinwalker Ranch.
God,
they better grip you
overlooked its sprawling green
and that's
pastures,
just gonna be my inheritance.
So I'm
gonna
and its
have
flowing creek to
that.
the south. The entire estate exuded an almost tranquil beauty that was not lost on the Sherman family.
Yeah, but it has the same
Terry
like,
was a high-end cattle breeder, and he hoped that the ranch would provide the space, privacy and security he needed to take what was not only his hobby, but his livelihood to the next level.
It looks sad and
depressing. He
depressing.
bought the ranch for an extremely favourable
price,
like, far less than what it was worth, and when he signed the paperwork, he accepted the deeds with an excited, disbelieving look in his eyes. What he now held in the palm of his hand was his ambition, his prospects, his dream.
Does he die?
He could not have known that the land he had just purchased would almost destroy him.
Not
just financially, but also psychologically. When they had first viewed the property, Terry and Gwen had found the main homestead in a state of disrepair, which of course they had anticipated, given the length of time it had stood empty. What they did not expect to find, however, was the sheer amount of deadbolts securing the home. Not just on the front and back doors, but on interior doors and all of the windows too.
Oh, that's
at the front and rear entrances.
Wait, what
they
was
also
it?
found heavy-duty chains.
They found deadbolts on every door, every window. Deadbolt is like it's basically a lock that you have to unlock with a key.
It's like a
an
thick ass
intense
lock, isn't it? What
yeah,
the
it's
fuck?
like a really
Bro,
intense lock.
You know what?
That's
you know
like
what?
a front
Just
door lock.
red flag number
Is a
one.
front door lock. Okay, so you know how your front door usually has two locks, like one main lock that's like easier, it's not as bad, and then it has the hefty duty lock. The hefty duty lock is that lock. So it's the hefty one.
This is the first red flag.
No,
literally,
which were embedded into the walls.
You can have it.
It didn't take a genius to work out that these had been used to chain large, powerful guard dogs in place. Although slightly unsettled.
Are you sure about that?
What do you mean you just heard about what happened to the people who lived there before 1984?
Wait,
I'm gonna piss myself.
What do you mean you just wait? What does that mean? What happened to them? What happened to them?
What do you mean?
Oh no! Did they get mauled Leonardo DiCaprio style?
Oh, they got bent over by a skinwalker. What the hell? What the hell?
I didn't hear any of this shit about deadbolts and shit. Oh. I mean, shit, I would deadbolt the fuck out of my house if I had skinwalkers. Actually, no, I wouldn't even be there.
No, bitch, I wouldn't be there.
Right, I wouldn't even be there.
By these peculiarities, Terry and Gwen dismissed them, believing that the elderly couple who owned the ranch before them had been paranoid and overprotective. They had seemed rather eccentric after all. In the real estate contract, they had inserted a number of unusual clauses. For instance, the Shermans were not permitted to dig on the land without prior approval from the previous owners.
What?
These irregularities were overlooked by the family, but somewhere in the back of Terry's mind, he could not help wondering what had spooked them to the point of installing this level of security. In time, of course,
must be
he would come
bears.
to
Am I
understand
right,
that this
guys?
idyllic,
Must be the
stunning
bears.
acreage was haunting in more ways than just its serene beauty. And in fact, the weirdness began almost straight away.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
On the first day of moving in, the Sherman family were unloading a truck in front of their new home when they spotted something on the far side of the pasture to the south. As it closed the distance, they could see that it was a wolf, which was loping gracefully towards them in a series of S-turns.
Not the motherfucking wolf.
This immediately set Terry on guard, but it wasn't just the presence of the wolf that concerned him. Scaling it against distant fence posts and bushes, he could see that this animal was at least 3 times the size of an average wolf. But its behaviour was
that
oddly
wolf
disarming.
is literally the same height
nonchalant,
as like
friendly even
them.
rather than
freaking
aggressive,
mom, bro.
slowing down and then stopping about 50 yards away. It sniffed the air and gazed at the family with intelligent, piercing blue eyes before continuing on, casually padding towards them without a care in the world. It seemed entirely tame. It wagged its tail as it approached,
bro, if a wolf is
and Terry's
towering over
father,
me,
who had been helping unload the truck,
that bitch
bravely
can have my
reached out
house.
to
Yeah.
stroke the huge
you
beast.
can have my house, my car,
Sherman
my
Sr.
car
stood over
keys,
6 feet
my
tall,
social security.
and even though he
like,
was a big man,
I'm not messing with
he
him.
came up to the top of his shoulder. It quickly became clear that despite the wolf's intimidating size and appearance, it meant no harm. The rest of the family relaxed and walked over to greet their strange visitor.
Why are we breeding wild
Someone's
animals,
pet,
bro?
Terry ventured.
Okay. This has to be fake. There's no way they thought it looks friendly.
No. Just think about it. It's
Glancing nervously at the
1994,
corral
and just, I mean, they're white. Okay, listen. Listen.
It all makes sense now.
That's the same dumb shit that they do in scary movies. Okay, just
about 70 feet to his left, and wondering if it had been wise to move some of his herd onto the ranch so soon. Inside of the pen stood 4 of his breeding cows and as many calves. They were all clearly troubled by the wolf's presence, except for one curious youngster, which was sticking its head out between the metal bars, watching the scene unfold. Almost as soon as Terry had realised the danger, the wolf had bounded across the short distance and now had its huge jaws clamped around the calf's head. The young cow bleated and thrashed wildly as the wolf tried to drag it out of the pen.
That makes me sad.
Terry grabbed an axe handle from the back of his truck and rushed over, beating the huge animal's flanks and kicking at its hind legs, but the wolf paid no attention and refused to let go. "Get my magnum," he shouted. His son ran across to the truck, grabbed a .357 from the cabin, and handed it to his father.
Oh, is this when they
Terry
shoot it
quickly
and it
fired
just
a shot
doesn't
at the
die?
wolf's
Broke out the
abdomen,
blick and
which
nothing
rang out
happened.
across the empty pasture, but it had no effect.
What
the huge animal
hell?
did not react in any way.
See, at this
didn't
point,
stagger
that's
or
not an
yelp.
animal
It
anymore.
did not even flinch. It
Like,
simply
what the fuck?
continued
Like,
to
that's not a
ravage the
wolf.
poor calf.
Inch?
In his
A
desperation,
shotgun?
Terry fired again. Still, the gun had no effect. After a third shot, however, the wolf slowly released its grip and backed off about 10 feet.
I would have just let him have it. I'm not gonna
The
lie.
rancher could not believe his eyes. Very few animals could have survived 3 shots from a .357 Magnum at point-blank range.
Like, bro,
Oh
that's
my
this
not an
wolf was somehow
animal.
not
Pack
even
your
wounded.
bags.
There was no blood anywhere on its coat.
There was
Finally,
no
he took
blood?
a 4th shot, right at the animal's heart.
There was no blood?
Like, wrap it up. Like, honestly, just wrap it up at this point.
What the
Bruh.
fuck?
And it retreated another
What do you
30
mean
feet.
there's no blood?
There was something incredibly unnerving about the way it just stood there with an unconcerned look, contemplating whether to attack the calf a second time. Terry sensed this and shouted at his son to get his .30-06 rifle from the house, which he did within a matter of seconds. The wolf remained perfectly still as he took aim with the heavier firearm, and he almost felt sorry for the poor beast.
Bro, you shot it 4 times.
A
Don't
deafening
feel
shot
sorry.
echoed across the wilderness as he pulled the trigger, and in that moment, he knew he'd hit his target. But instead of collapsing to the ground in a heap as it should have done, the wolf simply withdrew another 2 yards and stood looking at an increasingly unsettled Terry.
Bro just gained an op.
He quickly
Why
took another
is it
shot.
not
A supernatural
This time he saw a
op.
chunk of flesh detached from the animal, but even this did not put it down. The wolf
Shoot
took a last
it in the
unhurried look at the
head.
calf,
Shoot
then
that
turned
thing in the
and trotted
head.
back in the direction it
Like,
came
bro,
from.
fuck the heart.
Terry was
what the
dumbfounded.
fuck?
He
Shoot
knew
it
he
in
could
the
not allow a large
face.
predator to remain on his land if he intended to breed cattle. So he called to his teenage son, and the two of them proceeded to go after it.
They went after
They
it!
must have followed the wolf for
Bro.
about half an hour, catching glimpses of it as it ran to the south between patches of cottonwoods and other trees. The tracks led them through a copse of Russian
Oh my
olives,
god, they're gonna
the other side of
die.
which was the creek, and emerging from the trees, they found themselves on a wide open mud bank. They could clearly see the wolf's paw prints and immediately began to follow them, but the tracks abruptly stopped about 40
You found
yards from the
wolf
water's
video?
edge.
Oh. They legit gonna
Terry and
die.
his son could not believe
No,
their
because
eyes.
literally.
They were standing in a wide open expanse of sodden mud, yet the paw prints ended right in the middle of the bank. The wolf would have had to have leapt an impossible 40 or 50 yards in either direction to avoid leaving any more tracks.
What the heck?
It had seemingly vanished into thin air. Returning to the homestead, Terry happened to pick up the piece of flesh that had detached from the animal.
Very minor
He noted
injuries.
that, rather than being fresh and covered in blood, it looked and
Okay.
smelled.
Yuck.
Look at this video.
Bitch, is that a bear?
That's a wolf.
It's like a fucking bear.
Oh my fucking god. No!
It looks like a fucking bear, bro.
Oh. The dog survived. Okay, good.
That's good.
Rotten, as though it had been left out in the sun for a few days. In quiet contemplation, he turned his head south and looked out
Those
over the
are
pasture
massive.
towards the
That's
horizon,
horrifying.
wondering what on earth had just
I
happened.
grew up in a place with coyotes and
That
bears,
was the
so I
first
didn't really
day.
see many wolves.
The next few weeks were relatively normal, except for
And
a
the
few
coyotes
strange
weren't very
occurrences
large.
which happened around the homestead, all targeted towards Gwen. She didn't report any of these things to her husband at first, as she genuinely thought she was losing her mind.
Wait,
For
what was she
instance,
saying?
she would come home from shopping,
I
unpack the
think a bunch of
groceries and
weird
put
shit
them
could
away,
happen to his wife.
and then leave the room to attend to something else. Moments later, she would return to the kitchen and find the groceries all back in the bags, as if she had never unpacked them.
What the heck?
In other occurrences,
That would
she would
make me
go to
too.
have her customary morning shower. Locking the door behind her, she would place her towel and hairbrush on the side. When she finished, she would step out of the shower only to find her towel and hairbrush missing.
What?
They would disappear.
I think it's aliens. Aliens!
Fucking aliens.
Why am I moving in slow motion?
What? Oh.
No, I think I'm tripping.
I think you are tripping.